300 pounds sitting on the couch and my feet were going numb, and all these different ailments I was getting because of my health and because of my weight. And I'm like, not only am I physically strong now, I'm mentally and emotionally stronger than I have ever been. Throughout everything I went through, losing my father, husband get on my nerves, being a mom, and trying to keep my sanity through it all, I made it.
Hey guys, welcome to the Strong by Choice podcast, where we teach in business, life, and health. My name is Susan Adi, better known as Susie Savage. I'm the owner of Better Body 757, a small gym located in downtown Hampton focused on empowering women to take hold of their health and fitness.
And my name is Desirae Mills. I am an owner of A Lending Ear. I create a safe space for women to be aware that they're worthy and capable of their healing. And I also go by Cosmic Gray, get into the flow of life.
Word. The purpose of this podcast is to inspire women to be bold about their intentions and to take massive action working towards their goals in all areas of their life. Today's podcast, I'm super excited to talk about pushing past the bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
So we're coming off of a big weekend for both of us. Desirae had her first powerlifting meet. Mm-hmm. And this is my first time coaching. I had 3 athletes competing in the
yeah, we both had first times yesterday. You're right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Had 3 athletes walk away with the gold, so I'm super excited.
Number 1 spot.
Yeah.
What?
So today we're going to talk a little bit. Desiree's going to kind of lead this because we're going to talk about her journey and how she got here. And then we're going to transition into really pushing past the bullshit, like in your life, in your workouts, and how strength training kind of plays into that. So Desirae, why don't you give us a little recap of your weekend and then your journey, how you got here?
Okay, so I've been working out since the end of 2016, I would say, but I never really was that consistent on it. I definitely use it as a way to get past certain things in my life, but I never took it as serious. I don't think I ever really thought I could actually do it. And honestly, I just was setting up different limitations for myself because I wasn't really ready to make a full commitment. I still was hanging on to a lot of things that made me feel comfortable in the space and body that I was in. But Susan, she's always been a powerlifter and everything. And I remember she was like, oh, you should lift heavy. I'm like, no, I'm lifting heavy for. I didn't really understand it. I knew when you go to the gym, you do your cardio and you lift weights, but I didn't really know that the benefits of it besides just building muscle and everything. Mm-hmm. So I think it was in January. Yeah, January I was sitting talking with Susan, and at that point I was going to the gym, but I felt like, I train here also at Better Body 757, and I'm great to give women a great workout. I push them, I make them feel good, but I also kind of knew that me even training them needed to be taken to the next level. Mm-hmm. And even when I was going to the gym, it was almost like I'm going because I know I need to, but I really didn't have a goal in mind. I wasn't all the way sure how I wanted my body to look, or even
how to really structure your workouts because you had no end goal.
Yeah, how to really structure my workouts to go around it. And so Susan was like, oh, you should just do powerlifting. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. But I knew that I needed something to keep me on my own path and to keep me accountable. So that was in January, and I paid $85. And I told myself, I said, girl, you done pay $85 to get into this competition. You better give it your all and get your damn money's worth and bring home the gold. Okay, and that's what I did.
And let me tell you how our relationship works.
Yeah.
Because Desirae, she be on the fence with things, and she be like, should I do it? Should I not do it? And I'm like, you know what? You either going to do it or you going to shut up. That's how that conversation went. And then she was like, you know what? And she picked up her phone, and she literally signed up that day.
I literally signed. No, lies.
You did. You signed up while we were there in the gym.
No, I didn't. I lied to you.
Oh, you.
Yeah. So I always have this thing of not disappointing people. And so this ties into a part of me understanding, making it. I know, Susan, I know I be lying to you sometimes. I do.
I want to choke slam you so bad.
Yeah,
right
but I wish you would, because we
about to,
if y'all, if podcast people,
here,
Susan, I will flip this table and we could have a whole show. Let me tell you something. Hold up. I may lose. I'm not saying I will win, but I know I'm gonna give you a hard show. It ain't gonna be easy.
I'm not scared.
I'm glad because I'm not scared either.
Get back on track.
Anyway, so I didn't. I didn't sign up that day because I still wasn't sure. I seen it as investment because I knew I was like, I didn't really have all the money that I wanted to at that time, and I'm like, how am I going to be able to pay for it? Like $85 at that moment was a lot for me.
I'm so blown right now.
And so
for the people on the podcast, my face right now, I'm shaking my head because I can't believe she lied to me. But continue.
She gonna be all right. Anyway, so what I did, I was like, what am I doing? And I was like, I know I need to make this investment. I know I need something. So I ended up going, I didn't tell my husband, but I used his credit card. Sorry, babe, I love you very much. But I used his credit card, and I paid for that powerlifting thing. And so that was 8 weeks ago. So for 8 weeks, I trained 4 days out of the week, pretty much 2-hour workouts, squatting, deadlifting, benching, doing some walking lunges. I mean,
all the accessories.
All the accessories. Let me tell you something. I didn't know what beforehand. I would see Susan in here doing her workout and everything, her lifting weights, and then she was like, "Oh, I gotta go through the accessories." In my mind, I'm like, "They're not that bad." Well, not that they weren't that bad because I understood like the struggle, but I was kind of like, "Oh, okay, whatever." But when I had to do it, I was like, "Well, this is intense," and you get really tired. But then I was also amazed to see how much I progressed each week, like whether or not it was the weight I was doing with squats or it was the weight I was using for step ups and lunges and everything, or even like chest presses. I'm like, oh girl, you chest pressing 40 pounds now, 40-pound dumbbells, 80, honey. Okay. It was really amazing. And so seeing how my strength was building that way gave me the gun how to like keep going, right? Because like, oh, I can get better at this, I can get stronger. Like, yeah, it sucks, but like no matter what, the date March 16th is coming up, so either you give it your all and do well, or you can have it and not get the results
show up and embarrass us all.
Yeah, and
Team Better Bodies would have been pissed off.
It would have been pissed off. Now, granted, initially I was still stuck in my ways of like, okay, I'm gonna do this and still eat whatever I want. Like, I was consistent with my workouts, and every time I came to work out, whether I was by myself or Susan was here, whatever, I always gave it my all. Yeah. But with my diet, I wasn't, and I have to admit that. But then I got to a point I was like, so you're doing all this for what? What is the point? So you're putting on this work, you're working your body, and then on top of that, I started to feel like how my body felt differently. Not like, oh, my waist is getting smaller, I lost a few pounds, but like the tiredness and the soreness in it. It was like, it's a different kind of feeling versus like when you're doing cardio or you're not doing something as intensive. And then I started it helped me to understand even more so the importance of diet and nutrition, making sure you hit those macros, whether that be with your with my protein, my carbs, and my fat and everything. So having that,
for the people who don't know, by diet she doesn't mean like trying to lose weight, but diet is in good nutritional habits. Yes. Strength training, it's super important to make sure that you're getting enough protein for muscle recovery. And everyone's afraid of carbs right now, but you need carbs. You need them. So like she was saying, like workouts go from like an hour to 2 hours depending on what phase of your lifting that you're in. And like sometimes you even have to eat during your workout to get through it. It's different from cardio. The way that you push your body and the strain that you put on it is very different. So just don't think that she's talking about trying to lose weight. She's talking about eating for her goals, eating to get through her workout and eating to build strength. Yeah, because it was there to like fuel my body. Like if it was like, and I kind of liked it because that means I got to have more carbs in a way. Yeah. So like mainly I left the carbs right before I did a workout because carbohydrates help fuel you throughout your workout. It helps keep up that energy so you can go through it all the way where you're not like, oh my God, I did these 2 sets, I'm fucking done. So it helped me to understand like what my body needed and the importance of nutrition. Food being fuel rather than entertainment. I always say that, and I don't think people really get it until they get into that phase and like, oh God, like I can't get through that workout if I don't fuel my body correctly. I'm gonna feel like crap. Yes. My day is gonna go crap if I don't give my body what it needs. And my main thing too. So another background. When I first started this off, anyway, like I said, I
I've only been training for 8 weeks, but prior to that, I did lift heavy here and there. I think my max before here, I think it was in 2018 last year, I think my max squat was 185. And so my goal was always to do 200 and whatever. I never met it that year. So I feel but I feel like I had like I still had like a good amount of strength and experience in me anyway. But I was really surprised at how quickly I was able to progress. So the week of my competition, I was getting nervous. I was like, okay. And I swear it feels like when you're about to like do something, that's when your life be like, oh, hey girl, I'm about to just you a little bit. And so
the funny thing with that, like all 3 of my athletes like had like bad 2 weeks leading up to that meet, between like life stresses and not wanting to eat, like anxiety kicking in. Like all 3 of them just had this phase, and I was like, oh God, like they about to go to this meet and embarrass me. Don't wear no better body stuff. I had that thought for a minute, but I won't go say it. But it's funny how stress will creep up on you.
Of our abilities, but
I wasn't doubtful because I showed up and I coached y'all.
Ooh.
Let's go. Continue.
Anyway, so a lot of things just was popping up, some personal stuff with my family. Again, I didn't feel like I really wanted to eat. I actually started doing this fast with Susan for Lent, and so that also at first I was going in my back of my mind, something kept telling me you need to fast, and so when Susan had reminded me about Lent, I was like, oh, this works out perfectly. So then that way it gave me another goal. It gave me another goal. It gave me another form of discipline I need to have. I've come to find out when it comes to myself, I have to have a certain thing I need to reach.
But I think that's most people, and I think that's why some people do fall off, is they don't give themselves a goal. They're like, I'm going to lose weight or I'm going to get in shape. But what does that mean?
What does it mean? Yeah.
So, like having like that tangible, I'm going to accomplish this. I'm going to cut this out. I want to reach this, something to work for. And I want to gain this. I want to gain that, rather than I'm just trying to lose weight. I'm trying to lose inches. I'm going to get ready for this. What does that mean?
Right. And it really does make a difference. So, okay. So that week was like going crazy. For whatever reason, I feel like eating that much. My stress was getting up and I was trying to like keep my peace through it all. But my whole thing about it was when I went into the competition, I just said, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to lift whatever number I have. I'm going to check my form and make sure. Oh, that was the thing I was getting into as well. With my nutrition, coupling that with my workouts. Another thing that the reason why I took my nutrition even more serious is because I didn't want to hurt myself. And I'm like, if I'm going to do this competition, I need to make sure I'm in tip-top shape because I don't want to throw something off. And I remember beforehand when I first started working out and I started doing heavy lifting, you remember that, Susan, like my back was messed up, my knees, and I was like, and it really almost made me want to stop because I'm like, I don't think I should be hurting this way. Like, I think I actually hurt myself this time. And really, it was just like another form of resistance to me because I could have let that stop me. It did slow me down. I definitely would say it did slow me down, but I didn't let it stop me. So having that experience of feeling that type of pain that I never really felt before, I'm like, okay, now you about to go in here and lift some real big girl panties. I was like, you need to make sure that you're giving your body whatever it needs so you can recover from this, so you don't hurt yourself and you can do a kick-ass job during that competition. And that even helped me to change my mind around a lot more for that. So day of the competition, I don't think it was just an awesome day. Like the whole entire day was just so great. I woke up on time. I didn't miss any alarms, traffic. There was no traffic. So the first thing I had to do was squats. And so in this competition is different. Like when I'm working out at the gym, when I'm squatting, deadlifting, except for benching, there's a mirror in front of me. So I'm able to like check my form, make sure I'm pushing my knees out, make sure I'm getting low enough. But with this one, there's like no mirrors. And then like
you get to stand in front of an audience of people watching you.
Yeah, you just get to stand and I'm just like, okay. So I went. Even though I kind of was like last to pick a rack, but I decided to like not even try to interchange with Shay. She trains here at Better Body 757. So I could have went over there by Shay because she went by the mirror, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stay right here. And this one didn't have any mirror. I was like, so then that way you can go ahead and practice on how it feels to do these lifts without a mirror in front of you. So my my first weight was 235, and I walked up. I was super nervous. I was actually about to cry. Like, I had all this, and Susan knows about this. I had all this feeling in me, like, okay, I just want to cry for some reason. For me, it was just a way to get those jitters out. And then I told Susan, I was like, I can't believe I was able to see the fruits of my labor. I stuck with it. There were some hard days where I was like, man, I can't do this. My body hurts. I don't want to do this. I wasn't doing well with my nutrition. And it wasn't even just about the course of these 8 weeks. It was like my whole entire journey of thinking about myself when I was 300 pounds, sitting on the couch, after having given birth to my daughter, and my feet were going numb, and all these different ailments I was getting because of my health and because of my weight, and also besides just like how I felt in my body, but just how I felt about myself mentally and emotionally. And I'm like, not only am I physically strong now, I'm mentally and emotionally stronger than I have ever been. And I was just like, throughout everything I went through, losing my father, husband get on my nerves, being a mom, starting a business, starting my own business and everything, and trying to keep my sanity through it all, I made it. And there's nothing, no one can tell me anymore that will ever take that away from me. And I'm super grateful for God, of course, and also for Susan, for my husband, for everybody, Better Bodies, 757, Trap House Fit, everybody, for helping me with that. Because not only I know I had it with myself, but I had a community around me that really truly supported me. And I don't think I would have gotten as far if it wasn't for all those things coming together. So I'm up there, 235, my starting weight.
It's actually 240, but go ahead.
Oh, it was 240?
Yeah, girl.
I thought you did 235.
No.
Oh, 240. So up there at 240, I did my squat, and it was fine. I was like, all right, cool. And so I'm just going to skip to my last one. So my last squat was at 265. And I went out there, and my husband and my daughter had finally came. I looked for them. I smiled at them, and I'm like, you going to drop down, and you going to pick it back up. And I said, all right, girl, let's do this. I dropped down, came up, a breeze. Like, I didn't realize how strong I was.
And that right there is so important that you said that. And, like, the reason why I wanted you to talk about your journey is to really see, like, the transformation that comes with strength training and really, like, committing to wanting to be stronger. Like, just from hearing, like, you can see how your confidence changed, like, all these things finally coming together. And I always tell people, like, I think every woman should strength train. And it changes your mentality about things so much. Like, now you know, like, how much you can overcome, how strong you really are, and you never really realized it. You know, like, cardio is cool. It's cool to say, like, I ran this mile, I accomplished this, but the feeling that you get from that is not the same as being like, I just squatted 2 times my body weight. Like, there's nothing that can stop me. And being able to push through in those moments, it's a whole different kind of hurt when you're trying to lift heavy things. And I don't think people really realize that difference. The way you have to push yourself, and there's moments where you're like, this weight is real heavy and I'm moving real slow, but you have to tell yourself, I can do it. And not giving up in the middle of that lift, because it's going to hurt. You're going to feel like your body's going to give up. But what you feel in your mind is not always a reflection of what your body can actually do. And I think that's really important to understand.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that you touched on that, because every time I got a new number in my sheet, even if it was higher, the great thing about powerlifting and strength training is that it's like you don't just go in there, I just squatted 265. There is a buildup. There's different steps that you have to take. And so each time when you get to that number, you see that you can do it. It encourages, like, okay, if I just did that number, I know I can do this one. And for me, I guess how my mindset was is like, 1, I don't want to get hurt, so I'm going to check my form. And then 2, I want to see if I can do it. And then 3, I'm just going to do it. So when I seen that number, I took it as a challenge. Like, I wonder if I can really do it. And so you, like you said, you get to a point of pain where you have to realize, first off, all this weight is on you. So either you get it off you, or you're going to let it take you down and you're going to hurt yourself. And I'm like, I'm not about doing that. So whenever I got to a point where I'm like, oh man, this mess is heavy, I kept going past it.
Right.
And that coincides a lot mentally of the different areas in your life that you can see that in.
Everything when it comes to business, to life, to health, you're gonna come against that resistance. As you were saying, like, your family, your husband, like, everything will come against you at some point. Things will fall down, But knowing how strong you are and knowing you can get through certain obstacles, it gives you that same kind of strength in those other areas to know that it might hurt, it might be hard, but that doesn't mean I can't move it. It doesn't mean I can't get through it. And that's what I love so much about powerlifting and strength training in general. It really changes your mentality.
Yeah.
And it's just so important for women. We have the weight of the world on our shoulders in so many different areas. And just knowing that we can lift it, we can carry that.
Yeah.
And no matter how heavy it is, it doesn't mean that we can't take another step with it.
And the great thing also when you're saying that, and not only can you lift it and can you carry it, you can still put that down and walk away.
You can do more.
Sometimes you have this pressure, and like really for me, I had this pressure in my life, and in reference to the weight, it's like, okay, yeah, I picked it up and I carry it, but sometimes you can let that stuff stay on you, but you know that you have to rack it. Right. You pick it up, you rack it, and you go back the next day, and you go ever again. You don't have to carry it on you that whole entire time, and you can know confidently, one, you can do it and push past it and carry it, and then also you can still have your peace and happiness, because ain't no better feeling than when you're squatting. Like when I squatted at 265 and I came up and I know I finished it and I put it down, there's no better feeling than knowing that you just won that. And you, after that, you know what you do? You go back and you rest and you recover until you have to go at it again. So again, it's I never thought of powerlifting being all, and strength training too, weight training in particular, being all that in one. So it was really dope, and I think I'm most proud. So going back over into the competition bench, I got flagged on because I didn't practice well enough to
the commands
of it. But I did 150 for that, so that was good. My deadlift, I was super proud of. I didn't think I could do that. My deadlifts, I ended up doing 275, and again, I didn't. And Susan used to tell me this all the time, and she gonna get on me about this. She's like, Desirae, you don't know how strong you are. He's like, you really are strong. I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't know.
And the crazy thing is, like, Desirae will be in here teaching classes, and like, so many of the women here look up to you.
I don't know.
And she's just like, I'm just here doing something. Like, no, like, you're doing it. Go ahead, comment.
And it's, again, I don't know if the reason why I said I'm not that strong is because maybe I just didn't really think I was that strong. I don't think I was, one, fully capable of being strong, or two, I didn't really, again, it goes into me like seeing the value and worth that I had to offer. And in my mind, I felt like, okay, I'm still not in this certain spot in my life. So to present myself as being strong and being confident and knowing what I'm doing, it was just so foreign to me. But after this competition, and even while I was training with it, it just solidified every single thing I've done. And it's like, no, you are that. You know, and when I did that deadlift at 275, oh y'all, I wish, for the people who are just listening to the podcast, you won't see this, but my facial expression, but the people watching on YouTube, you will. So like I said, you know, training, I normally train in the mirror. And so, and again, it gives me like a point to target so I can like stay focused and watch my form. So I'm sitting there for a deadlift, and there's this guy sitting in the chair to watch my form and everything.
The way the meet is set up, there's a platform in front of an audience. So you go up there to lift, and there's a judge in front of you and on either side of you.
So I didn't want to look at my husband, because I'm like, this was like the heaviest I've ever lifted in anything. $275. I must be getting that soon. 275 pounds, a freaking weight that I have to lift. So I had to get serious. So I got in front of that thing. I looked at that judge. I was just like it's me and you. And I went down and I stared at him. I stared like I was looking into his soul, like, I'm about to leave this.
I dare you to call me on something.
I wish you would. Watch it. You want to see something? Watch this. And it was just so amazing. And I think people, like I told Susan earlier, I think people really picked up like on my energy, because I went in there, I was serious about it, but my main thing as well, besides like I want to get healthy, I want to get my body right, like one of my biggest things is I wanted to do something that, one, kind of scares me, and I just wanted to enjoy life.
Right.
And I think that's what made the meet, one of the reasons maybe I did well in the meet, besides me just being big strong, I was just enjoying the moment and the experience. Like, I'm experiencing these different things in my life I never thought I was going to do. I'm like, I'm really freaking happy. So I just had a full day. So I won first place in my weight class.
Hey.
I'm super excited about it. And the great thing about powerlifting and doing this competition, I'm going to do the one in October as well, is like now I have to move more into like cardio phase, but I'm like excited about it.
Because you see how much you can do.
Yeah.
And because now you've shifted to a place where you're thinking about how much you've gained instead of how much I have to lose.
Right. It's like, you know, if I can't eat certain things, like, that's okay. I'm about to do a great job. And one, I want to do a great job in my next competition. And two, I feel great. I feel great. I look great and everything.
Mentally, physically. And let me ask you something, Desirae.
Yes.
These 8 weeks of heavy lifting, do you feel like you're like a man?
No, I don't. My butt is sitting up higher. Okay. I don't feel like I look like a man. I don't feel like my body has all of a sudden transformed into a man. Like I could tell like my pecs are getting bigger, my traps are popping and everything, and my arms.
And you're ready for tank top season.
And I'm ready for tank top season, but I actually feel more feminine
because muscles make curves.
Yeah, but it's like in a different femininity. You know, a lot of times when we think of femininity, and I still believe in that, but there's different layers to femininity.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I think in femininity, besides having a big butt, we think of it being really dainty and soft and everything. And I'm like, no, I'm strong and I'm hard in the right places.
Yeah.
But I'm still very beautiful. I'm still very curvaceous. I'm still very sexy and sensual. Like, I feel more confident now than I would have felt if I was just strictly doing cardio. And then different strokes for different folks, but I don't feel like a man. I feel like when I walk into a room, like, what up?
Yeah.
I
want to use that to segment into our standards of beauty, especially with the Black community, and we're talking about health. There's so many misconceptions about between women and weightlifting.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked Desirae if she felt like a man, because that's like the number one excuse I have for the resistance to the strength training.
Oh my God.
Women always come in here and they're like, I need to do more cardio. I want to lose weight. I need to run more and all this. But then they'll tell me, but I want a bigger butt. But I want my arms to be toned. Why do you think running on a treadmill is going to give you those things?
It's not.
And that's what muscles make curves. So in order to tone and shape your body, you have to lift weights. And it's not these 1 pound weights that are going to change your body. So when you think about, you know, how you want to shape yourself and how strong you want to be, to think about that and think about cardio, it just doesn't even make sense. So I love our people, but there's just this huge disconnect.
It really is.
For you to think that you can work out, you can lift some weights, and you're going to end up looking like a bodybuilder, it's so disrespectful to the sport, first of all.
I remember when Susan would tell me that same thing. It's disrespectful to the sport. I'm like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but whatever. It's not a big deal. But like now, if someone would say that to me, like, oh, I'm going to get like a man if I'm lifting those 40-pound things. It's like, girl, I've been doing this for 8 weeks. You going to be all right. Like the
really amount of work that really goes into looking like a bodybuilder or a figure competitor.
A lot.
Like, you think you come up here with your crappy diet, lift weights for 3 weeks, and you're going to look like a man? Girl, you tripping.
They train for years, months and years.
And even at that, there's a strict control on their nutrition. And for people to think that you can just willy-nilly, I'm going to lift weights and then look like a man, you're tripping. It makes me so mad when I hear it, because it's just ludicrous.
Yeah, because training for this, I pretty much almost had to eat the same thing all the time. Like the carbs, I had to make sure I stay good. I really got into eating these little bean and cheese burritos. I don't know why. They gave me carbs and the protein that I needed. But you got to make sure you always hitting your macros and everything. And it can be kind of restrictive, but after a while, it doesn't even feel that way. It's just like, this is just what I eat. But it does take discipline. So to say oh, I'm going to look like a man in 12 weeks, you're not. Right. Pick up a dumbbell, 20 pounds.
Right. And then also, depending on what your standards of beauty are, is going to depend on the type of workout that you do.
Yeah.
So you can't say I want a big butt but I don't want toned legs. That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. It all goes into handle. Especially when a lot of women say, I want to come in to tone and sculpt my body, they don't realize the work they have to put into it, or they get to that point of pain,
right.
and they don't, that threshold of pain, and they don't want to move past that. They like, this is where I stop.
And that's where that mentality shift happens too. When you first start strength training or doing any kind of resistance training, you're going to be sore in the beginning. It's not going to feel good, and until you get to that point where you realize like how strong you are and what you can push yourself through, you're going to be like, God, this hurts.
And speaking of soreness, you're going to be sore, but you're going to be okay. Like,
and you can't progress without soreness. No matter how long you do it, you're going to hit plateaus at some point, and you're going to have to do different things. You're going to have to push yourself differently, and you're going to be sore. The better handle you have on nutrition and the things you can do for recovery, the less time it'll take for you to get that out of you.
Right.
But if you never feel soreness, you're never pushing yourself.
I'm about to say, and that was like one of the reasons why I decided to do powerlifting, because even when I was working out, I'm like, I thought I was doing everything right, because it's also about pairing, doing the certain exercises together to really dig into those muscles.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I wasn't that sore. I'm like, I'm not sore. Like, I know there has to be a certain form of soreness that I need to have in order for me to get my body the way I want to. Right. And we've had plenty of women who have come in and worked out with us, and who pretty much stopped doing what they needed to do because like, oh, I'm too sore. You're going to be sore. Get into a bath, change your diet, hydrate, stretch, and protein, as I always say to all my ladies here at Better Body 757. But you will be okay.
Every time you quit, you reset.
Yep.
So if you feel soreness and then you take 2 weeks off, when you go to work out again, you're going to feel that same soreness, and it's going to be just as bad. Yep. The best thing to do when you feel sore is to actually move more. That buildup of lactic acid in your body, the best thing to do is to pump your muscles to move it out. So if you sit there and like, oh, I'm so sore, let me lay in bed today, it's going to be worse. It's going to take longer for you to recover. Mm-hmm. And again, when you start working out again, you're going to feel that same soreness.
That same thing. And then on the mental aspect of it, then you're going to start beating yourself down like, oh, I don't feel like doing it, so I'll just go back to my old ways, grab some fast food or eat this and drown out my sorrows and everything. And then you really
the cycle starts over again.
All over.
You never feel a difference. You never see a difference.
And then that's why I say, with powerlifting, strength, and weight training, you get to that threshold, and then you get to be able to make that decision. And once you go past that, you'll never go back. Right. But you have to be willing enough to carry that weight, get it off of you, and move on. And some people have it, some people don't. But you gotta figure out which it is exactly that you want in life. If this is something that you really want, you have to know there is some work that needs to be done, and stick with it.
Yeah, and that's not to say that powerlifting is for everyone.
Yes.
There's definitely different ways to change your body and shape your body. But on that journey, I think when we talk about standards of beauty, make sure you're not tearing down the next person because your standard is different from them.
Yes.
So even if you look at another woman and you're like, oh, she's too muscular, like, keep it to yourself.
Keep it to
because
yourself.
The pride that she has in her body and what she's accomplished, for you to sit there and like talk about her, like, worry about yourself.
And you know what though, I'm so happy you touched on that, because Susan did this thing, two things. Susan did this thing where she was like, oh, my legs a little. At that time in my life, the way where I was with my body, I looked at her, I was like, your body is amazing, I wish my body looked that way. But she would always say that. In my mind, I always thought like she was tearing herself down, but she has certain goals for her. Like, her idea, what she wants her body to look like, and her idea of beauty is different than mine. And you don't know the struggle. Just from hearing my story, I touched a little bit on my own struggle, but you don't know what that woman might have went through just to get her body that way, to feel confident and comfortable enough to even take that chance on herself to get her body to that place. So for you to look at her and tear her down, is you have no idea what her story was,
or belittle her goals.
If she want to go out there and deadlift 1,000 pounds or run 30,000 miles, let that girl live. Good for you, because if she set a goal, she planned it out, she stuck with it, and she achieved it. And that alone is beautiful enough to command and to applaud, because she shows you whatever it is that you have in your mind of how you want to be and the goals you want to have, you can do it too. You don't have to do what I do, but you
need to have your own standards for yourself, and you need to have a goal and be pushing towards something.
Yep.
And in our community especially, I think like just recently we've gotten to a point where like exercise is more like the forefront of our minds. But even now, like if we talk to our parents and we say, oh, my goal is to deadlift 500 pounds. What you doing with that weight?
Girl.
Desirae, I remember you posted something. I don't know if it was your mom or your sister. Or no, it was somebody in your family, but they were like, don't hurt yourself. And that's always the first thing that our our elders think, well, why are you trying to lift all that weight for? You trying to be a man? Nah, dog.
My mom's biggest thing, even when I was younger, I used to like help try to, because I've always, now I think about it, really have always been strong. Like my dad needed like even moving the couch. I could move the couch by myself, and my mom be like, Desirae, you want to have babies one day, don't you? And I'm like, what this got to do with what are you talking about? And so even before I even did this powerlifting thing, and I told her that I had squatted 185, she was like, you just want to squat the weight of your mama? I'm just a little she don't talk like that, but I'm just a little confused. And it's like, okay. But the great thing I would say about my mom, she didn't understand it, but she did send me like gloves for the powerlifting. Me like, I sent you some gloves. I seen that, you
can't wear gloves when you compete, by the way. But it's just cute that she tried.
So they don't always understand it. And if people don't understand it, that doesn't mean for you to stop.
Right.
You know what you do? You show them.
Exactly.
I feel like,
and now Desirae posted her results from the meet, and all these people, oh my God, let's go, Desirae. And at least 2 or 3 people have been like, well, I want to try that now. So
but when
you're going to get that resistance. People going to talk about you. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing it? And then when you accomplish it, well, how can I do it?
Yeah, and then you might even get those people when you did accomplish it, and then they don't have anything to say. And then because they honestly couldn't believe that you get both of those people, because some people can't believe, like, okay, you were saying all this and you actually did it, and you got I got first place, you got a reward from it. Ooh, what am I doing with my life?
Exactly. So to kind of bring this all together,
yes ma'am,
this meet has been an accumulation of lots of hard work and falling on and off track with Desirae, but the rewards that she feels from actually sticking with this goal and
outweighs
any
everything.
of the struggles. And I wish that every woman could feel this feeling that you feel, because it's something that I feel every time I lift. I see it in so many of our women. At Better Bodies, we lift heavy weights. No matter if you're trying to lose weight, gain weight, whatever it is,
you're gonna lift something.
We'll adjust your nutrition accordingly. But that feeling that you feel, that empowerment, I wish every woman could feel it. And I honestly wish that every woman at some point would strength train, and to really feel that and understand how strong you really are, and be able to apply that feeling to every area of our life. We get down on ourselves a lot. We get a lot of resistance in different areas. We feel like we're not good enough. And to just know how strong we really are and the things that we can accomplish with our body, with our mind and our spirit, when we really stick to it, is so important. And I
think, like, for me, it just made everything I went through so much worth it. And I think sometimes I'm not going to say it's good, because I want life to be happy, but I'm almost grateful for the things I went through, because it gave me the strength to, like, get that, to do it.
Right.
And sometimes I'd be like, if I was having too good of a day, I try to lift something, I'm like, man, I think I'm too happy. But, like, not in a way of, like, you, like, saying you have to go through something in order, because I'm trying to get past that mentally as well. Like, oh, you have to go through something in order to have this transformation. You don't have to be that way.
You can just choose that path.
You can still be happy and be able to accomplish great things and have great things come to you without that form of resistance and everything.
Strength is a choice.
It is.
Sometimes it takes people going through something to make the decision to be strong.
Yeah.
But you don't have to let yourself get down before you go up.
Right.
You just have to realize where you want to go and make a plan and stick with it.
Yeah, and this is why, like, the competition, and since I've been through this, now it went from, like, okay, I'm going through this, I need something to, like, help me through it, to, like, I'm excited to see what the fuck I'm going to do next. What's Desirae going to do? Out, girl, I don't know. She over there lifting the weights.
So, takeaways from this podcast, all in all, don't be a little... decide what you want to do and go after it. With your training, you need to make sure that you're pushing yourself. Yeah. Whether your goal is to lift heavy, to run far, whatever it is, and we're not saying one path is better than the other. Yeah. I do think every woman should strength train at some point.
Especially if you if you want to get into toning and all that stuff. Especially.
Right. But no matter what you do, you have to get past that point of being comfortable. Yeah. Good things never come from comfort zones. So whatever your goal is, you need to understand that there's going to be some pain, there's going to be some resistance, and understand to push past that.
Hair sticking up. Sorry.
And understand how to push past that. Be open to trying something different. If you've been doing the same thing, you haven't gotten results, if you've only been pushing yourself to a certain level, if you don't know how to take yourself to the next level, then find someone who does, whether that's an app, whether that's a course, whether that's investing in a trainer, whatever you need to get you where you need to go, And don't look, if you don't know how to do something, don't try to do it yourself. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I don't want people to listen to this podcast, but I'm gonna start powerlifting and then watch our videos and deadlift and hurt yourself. Invest in the education to get you where you need. That is a disclaimer right there. Do not go out there and start powerlifting.
Yeah,
you've
no,
never
you
done
need
before.
you need to get a trainer. Like I said, I wouldn't have been able to do this without Susan and her knowledge in powerlifting and everything. So it's like you tapped on about, you know, pushing past your limits and everything and making sure you're going through it. It's like,
but with good form and with good reason and with accountability.
So with the accountability especially, you have to have somebody who's going to keep you accountable, because if you're that type of person who runs away from struggle, then it's going to be another thing that you say, oh, it was too much, whatever. So just do some different. Oh, what were you saying too? About trying new things, which is why I started doing powerlifting anyway, because I said I was in the gym by myself. I wasn't getting anywhere. So I was like, I'm tired of, like, you have to get tired of doing that same cycle of doing the same thing over and over again.
And getting the same results.
And then complaining about it. My thing is this, which helped me too. If I am going to not change, then I need to stop complaining about it and find some happiness in it. Mm-hmm. If I feel like I can't not complain, then I need to change something. And I think that's also helped me to do my thing.
Yeah. Push yourself.
You won't look like a man.
You will not look like a man.
At all. I'm still very voluptuous.
Ooh, true. All right, guys. This will be the conclusion of this podcast. I hope you guys got some good nuggets from this about pushing yourself, not living within your limits, and not letting stereotypes hold you down.
Yes.
If you like this, make sure you subscribe to our page, comment, like, share, all that good stuff. And then we'll see you next time.